this might be a good gift for the fathers out there, the dads out there, I should say. Make sure you give them a little bit of praise, a little bit of a hug, a little bit of a nudge, and say, you know what? I really think you're doing a great job. Because sometimes they might not be doing a great job, but they're trying their fucking hardest. So do you ever envy those so-called hashtag couples goals?
Well, when you first fall in love with someone, you get butterflies every time you see them.
You lust them.
You're infatuated with them.
You want to be with them all the time, like best friends.
Do you want that to last forever?
Together, let's discover what it takes to say a massive yes to all the above through our topical discussions, our world-renowned guests that will help guide the way to a happier, sexier, and fun-loving relationship.
We're not doctors or therapists. We are just two normal individuals who have had many ups and downs in our 23-year relationship.
And counting.
We've amassed our own wisdom over the years, but we're still learning, just like you.
Nina and I believe you can have it all and still live your best lives, as long as you're willingly and consistently discover each other in new ways. And that right there is what the show is all about.
We're Nina.
And Roger.
And this is the Head Over Heels Show.
Yeah, baby. Another week. And guess what? My name is still Roger. And I'm still here with my beautiful wife, Nina.
Yes, we are.
And of course, we're still the Head Over Heels Show. I keep saying I'm going to get rid of that little introduction segment, but I don't know why I keep doing it. Guess it's our thing.
It's your thing.
It's our thing.
It's your thing.
It's our thing.
It makes you look hotter. It sounds hotter. I think it's true, but though, every time you say it, I want to jump over that side of the table and just like devour you.
Devour me or give me like a flying elbow?
The flying elbow is a different time of the day.
Yeah, different time of the day. Different time of the month, maybe? I don't know.
It's true. It's a month. It's a month.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a monthly thing. I don't hate you on a daily basis. I hate you on a monthly basis.
On a monthly basis.
Can you all guess what time the month that is?
Shark Week.
Is that what it's called? Shark Week?
That's what a lot of people call it. I guess it's pretty bloody, so.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ. It pays not to be a English speaking first language. However the fuck do you put it?
And when you go a little crazy, I hear that soundtrack in the back of my head. Dun 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 dun. I'm about to get killed.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody to Head of Heels Show. Another segment of Roger tearing down Nina.
There you go.
Or Nina's monthly time.
There you go. So how was your week this week?
I had a great week. I had a really, really, really good week. Mm-hmm. I mean, besides the fact that they have a capsular contractor in my nipples and my...
Your nipples?
Not nipples, sorry.
Jeez.
In my implants.
There you go.
As you may know, I have breast implants for about 15 years. And one of them all of a sudden became hard and round and higher than the other one. I'm like, I wonder what this is. It's normal. 1 out of every 4 women with breast implants get the capsular contracture at some point or the other. What it is a tissue that forms around the breast implant, hardens it. So the doctor says with the massage, lucky you, Roger, with the massage daily, 5 minutes of massage and some medication should reverse the side effect of it.
There you go.
So we'll see. We're going to try it for a few months. If it doesn't work, if your hands don't do the good job of massaging it.
There you go. Well, never mind my hands. I think it'll be good because you can have a breast massage daily and I can get a face massage daily. Hashtag motorboat.
That works really well for me.
There you go.
So that was one. I mean, it's not a negative thing, to be honest. A lot of people thought it was bad. It's not. It's just something that it's an foreign object in your body. Tissue is meant to form around it. So, I mean, I'm lucky. It only happened 15 years after I had it done. So some women get it right away. As a matter of fact, I had a few friends that had it done, that had it right after they got their breast implant. So it's not a very pleasant situation because you have to reoperate on it. most of the cases. So we're hoping that I don't have to reoperate on this.
There you go.
But other than that, we had a great time. We went out on a couple of dates, you and I. It was amazing.
Went to a grand opening of a restaurant or a reopening of a restaurant that kind of caught fire, and it was good. We had good restaurant, good food, good vibe.
A lot of dancing, which is what I always talk about and highly recommend it to couples, is that you go on a date night and you never stop dating your partner. People look at me sometimes when I say it weird. I'm like, yeah, I'm on a date night. Like, I'm going out with my husband. As if we just start dating, because it's fucking important for your relationship.
Well, I mean, a lot of people sit there and say, I can't believe you guys have been together 26 years and married 20 and all that stuff because we're still doing this kind of stuff. To me, it's like, why does that have to stop? Why does that have to become something that is so rare that you do because you've been together so long? I mean, you want to be able to continue that attraction to that person, and you can't do that if it's always the repetitive thing, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. You coming home from work, sit down on the couch, watch a little TV, go to bed, wake up in the morning, go to work, come back, eat some food, sit down, watch some TV, go to bed.
Rent, say hi to your kids, take them to school. Like, all these mundane things that you do every day will take a toll on your relationship, which is why we always say date nights are a must. A must. It's actually one of our secrets. Everybody asks, what's your secret for such a loving, fun, long relationship? One of them is this. Yeah. It's we never stop dating each other.
And we say it all the time. I mean, I don't know how many times we say it in this podcast, but it doesn't always have to mean that you go out and do something. It just so happens that the what we love to do, Nina and I, is dance. So we like to go out and dance and do things. So that's why we go out. But I mean, if you're, the hobby, the thing you love to do is go play golf, well, go play golf with your wife or husband. Or, if it's painting or if it's something else, do that. Have fun together and do the things that your spouse likes and do the things that you like and do them together. Try and make it a weekly or monthly, couple times a month thing to do.
But no, really, like, you can never stop dating your spouse. That is a must thing in your relationship. So that was fun. We do that a lot.
Yep.
I had a great weekend with our kids.
We did a little shopping. We needed some summer clothes.
Oh, we did. We broke the bank.
I mean, I didn't have too many shorts to fit me. I mean, it's kind of funny that my son has grown up so much that he's getting my hand-me-downs. As opposed to a sibling or something like that. But I just noticed that a lot of stuff the summer stuff doesn't fit me the same anymore due to shrinkage and growthage.
Shrinkage and growthage.
I won't tell you what part is shrinkage and the other part, which part is growthage.
I was going to say, your butt is looking rounder, mister. But that's thanks to me because I'm kicking your ass to fitness. I'm going to take the credit for that.
It has nothing to do with the pizza and stuff like that, but...
Well, I do the pizza too, but hey, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that our kids are actually sharing our wardrobe. You and I are the luckiest parents because both our kids share our shoe sizes. I hope Tristan doesn't grow out of it. And they're starting to share our wardrobe and we share theirs. So it's a good thing that we shop. Yeah, we did break the bank last week in terms of shopping, but
it was just all summer stuff. It was just a big hit of summer stuff, shorts and T-shirts and tank tops and blah, 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 blah. But it's funny, though, because like you said, you do borrow my daughter's clothes every once in a while, and she does yours every once in a while. But, I'll sit there and I'll see you come up on the top. I'm like, wow, where'd you get that? And you're like, Angelique's closet. I'm like, oh, shit.
Well, it doesn't fit my daughter the way it fits me, so that's a good thing.
It's like it automatically goes PG when it goes on her. So it's pretty funny. But, I mean, this week is the week prior to Father's Day. And I was thinking about that the other day because
I thought, Father's Day, baby.
Well, it's not here yet, but it will be. Thank you very much. But what I wanted to kind of do this for the beginning of this episode is just kind of talk a little bit about fathers, essentially, being a father. And, I know there's a lot of, deadbeat dads out there that are not around their kids and all that stuff. Well, those are not those are people that fathered a child. They're not like dads. They're not, there's a difference between being a father of a kid and being a dad to a kid. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. There's so, and to your point, there are tons of fathers out there that did not father those children. They either took them on or adopted them or became their father.
Yeah,
and they
became
do
their
an
dad.
incredible job of being their dad.
So it's one thing to hear a kid, you talk to somebody, our age or whatever and say, oh, this is my father or this is my dad. So the way I look at a father is somebody that, helped make you.
Shape you. Yeah, absolutely.
Make you.
Okay, make you.
A dad is the one that helps shape you into the person you are. Like that's the person that is around you. Like, my brother-in-law is a perfect example.
Yeah.
When he married my sister, he adopted her daughter, which is Tina, and she's grown to be a 20-some-odd-year-old woman now. Like he took on the dad role because the father was not around. I just wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about what you can do for Father's Day. I mean, I've never been a big one for gifts. You know what I mean? I don't think that your dad will be that excited about a new pair of socks or a tie or whatever. Not that they're not great gifts. They're great gifts. I love my socks.
Yeah, you do.
But I think a lot of times in the family, the father, I could be wrong here, I could be looking at it a different way, but the father, or the dad, I should say, doesn't get as much praise. Because to be honest, I mean, the moms do a hell of a lot of work at home. They do a hell of a lot of stuff that the kids and of course the mom notices. But sometimes, as a dad,
I guess what you're saying is that Mother's Day is way bigger than Father's Day, and I get what you're saying. And they get more praised for being mothers than fathers do.
Well, a mom will be a massive role model in a kid's life, regardless of anything. A father or dad is not so much always the case. You know what I mean? I know that I'm a great role model to my kids. I know they respect me like crazy. But it's like every once in a while, just a little bit of praise, a little bit of like, and I'll be honest, my son is great at that. So is my daughter, but my son, for some reason, he articulates it. He'll sit there and, he'll come give me a hug and he'll say, thanks for working, Dad. Thanks for working so hard, Dad. You know what I mean? Like you just throw that in there.
Thanks for being a great dad. He says it all.
Yeah, he just says all that kind of stuff. And it makes me feel good. And I'm thinking, this might be a good gift for the fathers out there, the dads out there, I should say. Make sure you give them a little praise, a little bit of a hug, a little bit of a nudge and say, you know what? I really think you're doing a great job. Because sometimes they might not be doing a great job, but they're trying their fucking hardest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
So,
well, that's everybody's perspective, right?
appreciate, just a little bit of appreciation. Like, think about it this way. My dad's passed away. Your dad's passed away.
Yes. They're both in heaven.
Yes. So what would you say to your dad for Father's Day?
Oh, my God. Hold the tears back. Because just thinking about my dad is making me want to.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you know what? You start because
I can hear it in your voice already. Well, if I was talking to my dad right now, because he's been passed away now for what, 20 some odd years?
24 years.
24 years.
I've been with you for 26 and he died.
Passed away at 54. And how old would that have made me? Like 23?
You were 26 when that.
26. There you go, 26. Oh, there you go. Do the math. I guess what I would say to my dad, I would have to start it off with, hey, bud. Because that's what he talked to me. Hey, bud. Hey, bud. I would tell him that, you know what? You did a great job. You did a great job regardless of what you had to work with. Meaning, your own role models. You didn't have very many role models when growing up. Your dad was a raging alcoholic and, from what I hear from him, didn't treat him so well. We grew up around a lot of violence. A lot of violence. But yet, we all turned out great.
You did.
So I want to tell my dad that you did a fucking great job, especially with what you had to work with. That's it. You know what? I had a great life.
I love it.
I enjoyed my life. I have a conscience. I know to be kind to others when need be. I know when not to be so kind to others when need be. And it's all thanks to him.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I truly wish you were around to see what you created or how you gave us the path to go on and live our own lives. But because you're not, that's what I would want to say. You did a spectacular job.
That's
And I
so
praise you.
beautiful. I love that. And I'm having a hard time even speaking, just thinking of that, because your dad was an amazing human being. I knew him. I was privileged, and I was so blessed to get to know him for last 2 years of his life. And they were beautiful. He's a beautiful human being. And the way he loved me, and he welcomed me but he legit welcomed me with open hearts in your family. And it was just a beautiful thing from him. Yes, he did hit on me in a way, but it was a funny way, in a joking way.
My dad was like that. He would, I'd come in the house.
Which I think that's why I related to him so much.
But I'd come in the house after school, and, I'd be downstairs in the basement with my friends, most likely girls. And my dad would come up to the door and be like, "Hey, you all right down there? Yep. You got anybody down there for me?" I mean, as a joke. So it's just...
And that's what I think I related to, his fun, contagious personality. He was flirty, he was loud, he was funny, and a lot of that describes me, and that's who I was. And I loved interacting with that personality because it was very similar to mine. So I loved your father for so many reasons besides that. What I would say for my dad, if he was here, I would wish him a heavenly, obviously, he's in heaven. I wish him a heavenly birthday, but Father's Day. But what I would say is, thank you for a lot of things. Same thing as your father. He only had what he knew what to work with. My father was illiterate. He couldn't even read and write. And he was angry towards my mother for his entire life. And I think that was because of where he was, also the way he was taught. That was he was brought up.
That's what he had to work with.
That male are different than females, and males are superior to females. But he was an amazing, incredible father for 9 children. He worked 16 to 18-hour days. This man would come home, sleep 3-4 hours, and get back to work 7 days a week, his entire life. So for that, I will say thank you. And I will say thank you for teaching me how to tell time. Because I know any time of the day, I can look at the sky and I can tell what time of the day it is.
I was going to ask you, tell time? What do you mean?
Because
he gave you a watch?
No, he didn't. I used to go to farm with him when I was a little girl. And one day, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was really hungry and I said, "Dad, can we eat?" He says, "Not time yet." I'm like, "What do you mean? How do you know what time it is?" He's like, "Here." He took a stick and he stuck it in the yard, in the farm. And he says, in the garden, he says, "Look at this. Where is the shadow? And he pointed to where the shadow needs to be. And that's when it's 12 o'clock. And he says, every time the shadow hits here, it's 12. So I kind of got that from him since I was a little girl. And I also want to say thank you for teaching me how to survive in any situation, no matter how tough it is. One particular situation was when we were in a refugee camp. We had nothing to shelter us. It was pouring rain and snow. It was cold. It was April in the mountains of Iraq. And I would see his bloody hands. They were all bloody from trying to cut wet trees so we can make fire, because we had no machete, no knife, nothing. We were refugees. So we're trying to survive on nothing. And I would look at his bloody hand, and with no complaints, he would go there and rip those goddamn trees apart with his bare hand. And I would look at him as a 15-year-old girl and say, "Yep, if he could do it, I sure as hell I could do it, no matter where I am." And that stayed with me. And I think that's where my strength comes from, where my no fear in life comes from. It was all from him. I could do it in any place, anywhere.
I can praise your dad for something.
What is it?
I can thank him for gathering you guys all up, and the walking the 14 days and living 3 years and as a refugee, intense to take you away from all that and bring you here to me. So
yes, Baba, thank you for doing that for Roger.
And for accepting me into his family, because I was with all I don't know how you say, how due respect or whatever, but I was an outsider. I wasn't from your culture. I wasn't all that stuff, but he got to know me right away and liked me and didn't care where I was from in the end.
Again, the same thing as your father taught us how to be kind to other, how to love other, no matter who they are, where their religion backgrounds are, what the color of skin is, no matter what. That was my father. He always said, you never turn your back on anything than a human, no matter who they are.
Yeah.
And he did that for you, and I love that about him.
And he had a little special nickname for everybody in the family.
All the son-in-laws.
All the son-in-laws had a nickname. And he gave me one, which the other brother-in-laws used to tease me about. His nickname for me was Zarakeoma, which meant sunshine. And the other brother-in-laws used to tease me and say, sunshine, like make it a gay term or something. I don't know what they were trying to do, but
they were just jealous.
But they would do that, and I always took it as they're joking around. It's a funny word, whatever. So one time I was with some clients of mine that had no idea who your parents were, and I didn't know your family at all. But they were Assyrian like you are, and I told them the nickname. And the wife said, "Oh, like very endearing." I'm like, "What do you mean, oh? I mean, isn't it like a joke?" Because they were always teasing me about it. And she's like, "No, it means sunshine. It means like you're
endearing way of loving someone.
You're his daylight. You bring light into the room and all stuff." I'm like, shit, I never looked at it that way because they always tease me about it. And now I understand. Like I didn't understand your dad because he didn't speak the language, but I understood when they would tease me about it, he would get mad at them. I just didn't know what he would say. He would always tell them off.
No, he loved you so much that he called you that endearing because he took his little girl. And when he saw that, how amazing you were, and he says he was actually happy that he did because you were his like sunshine.
Exactly. Well, I apologize for everything I do to your little girl.
Oh my God. So yes, happy Father's Day to my father, my father-in-law, to every father out there.
Absolutely. All the fathers out there, man, I hope you guys can go out there and give them a little praise, a little love, and a little, nudge to continue doing what they're doing. And if they're not succeeding, then help them succeed by pushing them and praising them and tell them how great that they're doing for the family. Because I know moms do a hell of a lot for the family, so we always give them praise, but every once in a while, just give a little bit of praise to the dads. How about fathers?
Well, let me praise you, boy. Oh. I can't do shit without you. You're my main man. Whether you're the father of my children, my lover, my best friend. I cannot imagine this life without you. And my kids can never certainly imagine their life without you. So you are just as important as their mother and I, if not more.
Did you get that? I sent you a TikTok or an Instagram today. I don't know if you saw it. It was a girl. She was sitting in her car and she's like, I love my husband or my man, whatever, but let's say husband. I love my husband. I love how he can't keep his hands off me and how he, the butt smacks and the grabs and the hugs and the this and the that. And then she goes into even though sometimes I want to kill you for
elbow you in the face
for the butt smacks and the grabs and the that and the she goes, but I wouldn't be able to live without them. I wouldn't be able to live without all those butt smacks and those grabs and those touches and those comments and those loves and blah blah. Like the way she put it, she just kept on going and going. She goes, I love it, but I love it, but I hate it, but I love it, but I hate it. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be able to live without it. I don't remember exactly, but it was pretty funny. I laughed, I giggled, so I sent it over.
Did that remind you of me?
It reminds you of every woman. How they sit there and say, of course it reminded me of you. But like I said, it just reminds me of every woman, how they sit there and complain about their mans, but they wouldn't be able to live without them.
But that's exactly what I say all the time. It's a love-hate relationship. I know I love you to death, but I know I can't stand you sometimes. But I also know I can't live without you. It's just, the math doesn't add up if you're not around.
So that's a public service announcement. Praise your husband and stop bitching.
Happy Father's Day, babes.
So speaking of praising or appreciation, contributing, all that stuff, before we started talking about this Father's Day stuff, and I said, okay, well, what can we talk about today? And we should be talking about that kind of stuff. How much you contribute to to your family, to your life, to your livelihood, to everything.
Well, I want to talk about something that is really relatable to a lot of couples. A lot of couples don't talk about this, but we think it. Like we think it. I think all the time, I'm contributing so much to my family, to my lover, to my kids. And I think of these things. And I don't think about them in a negative way. It's a positive way. So when I think of what I'm contributing to our relationship, to our family, to our love life, it brings joy to my heart. And I want to do more of it. So today's topic, it was about that. It was about, what do you contribute to your relationship?
Well, it falls well with what we just talked about now that we're just, throwing about Father's Day and throwing praise. Let's praise not just the fathers, but praise everybody that contributes to the family. So why don't we do a little bit of that? We talked about praise, and now we talk about contributing. How do you contribute to the family, and how do I contribute to the family?
Well, I'm going to start with the first one, which is really lighthearted. I'm going to start about I feed my dog every day. Our dog every day. Because if I didn't, he would die. It's a fact.
Feed us too, so I think we would die too. Either that or we'd eat the dog food. Sorry, Tanner, we would eat your food.
Don't tell his name, call his name, because he's going to come.
He's already coming.
So it's true though. That's one thing I think about every day. Every day I feed my puppy twice a day. And obviously I give him a lot of snacks and treats here and there. And you can see him coming to me right now because I said his name. But I think of it, I'm like, damn, if I don't feed this dog, he will legit starve to death because no one thinks of feeding him. Mm-hmm. But again, like Roger said, I feed the entire family, so it's kind of my job to feed the dog.
She always makes sure our bowls are all fed. Full, not fed, full.
So I would say that's my biggest contribution is making sure my dog stays alive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's yours? What's your other one?
Well, I just wrote down, like we both contribute to things. I feel that you contribute by bringing the stress, and I contribute by bringing the fun.
No. This is bullshit. You were supposed to talk about your contribution, not mine. And I would say, yes, right, and you're wrong.
All right, so
but don't worry about mine.
Why don't you bring in what my contribution is? What do you think my contribution is?
I don't know. I didn't think of that. I'm thinking of mine. Okay. Your contribution to our relationship is you're so goddamn patient with my crazy brain. Mm-hmm. Okay? What I'm saying is I'm not making an excuse of the fact that I'm a Scorpio, I'm a fucking crazy, and I just lose my shit a lot of times. And I'm not as calm as I...
Notice that wasn't my voice. It was all hers.
Yes, it's mine. It's mine. I'm not going to deny who I am. I am who I am. I am strong-minded, strong-willed, and that come across in a lot of times. And I'll be loud about things. Your contribution is...
Never heard you.
I love you so fucking much. You're patient. Your patience have made me... You know what? Your patience is... what made this relationship work for 26 years?
I think.
How about that?
I think if I wasn't here, we would own every useless knickknack in the world. Just anything. Right. Just anything. You'd be like, this plate, this would be great for the times that we have pierogies. And I'm like, all right, when the fuck do we have pierogies? My daughter is a what is it? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Extension of me.
Yeah. Well, the credit card doesn't fall far from the tree either. But all jokes aside, I feel we have like both our roles in the family, in the household. Every once in a while, we try to get involved in each other's roles, and that's when all hell breaks loose.
It's okay.
So I try and take over your role, or you try and take over my role, and then all of a sudden, we explode. No?
No, I get it. I get where you're coming from.
Backfires.
Yeah, backfires. Okay. Makes sense in a way. But I'm going to go back to because I have a few more to say, right?
Yeah.
So we'll go back to mine. So my second contribution would be, which I think it's the most important one for us as a couple, for our family. Mine is risk management. What I mean about that is that I try to prevent bad things from happening before they start, as opposed to letting things happen and try to fix it later.
Yeah. You take preventative measures.
I do take preventative measures in a lot of ways. Sometimes it bites me in the butt, but most of the time I think it works to our benefits. For example, like if I know it's not a good idea for us to do something, we won't do it. I'll talk us out of doing it because I don't want the bad outcome. And I don't want to say, I wish I hadn't, or I told you so. I want to prevent all that from happening. So I'll take preventative precautions ahead of time. And I'm really, 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 really good at that. And I think I've done a great job for the past 26 years. There's so many examples I can give you that bad things could have happened, but because I prevented it, didn't happen. And it's happening the same thing with our children, and I love that. And do you agree with that or no?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We both have different stresses, right?
Right.
I stress about the money in the family and all that stuff. And you stress about, well, pretty much everything else. You stress about, what we're going to eat, what we're going to do, little things like a lot of shit happening on the subway today. I'm going to drive the kids to school every single day until this blows over, until they figure something out, make the subway safer. If we want to go on a vacation, we're in need of a vacation. If you weren't around, we would not be on this vacation, on any vacations, because I don't think it's something I would ever really plan, because that's not my strong point. So I mean, we have a hell of a lot of amazing family time because these are the things that you put into place so that we can have them. So they're not always preventative. They're what do you call it? Fun and enjoyable. Like I said, if it wasn't for you, there would be no Mexico trips. There would be no, cottage rentals, beach cottage rentals, or that kind of stuff. Because, you think of those kind of things and then you're like, all right, I'm making it happen.
Right. Yeah, it's life.
Yeah.
Life, like having life, to be honest. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's having a life and having the time with our kids and having the time even with our dog and just, experiencing stuff and creating memories.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. For example, we went to Florida this year. We drove to Florida a couple of times because we wanted our dog to experience the beautiful life that we enjoy without him, like the ocean life, the travel. We wanted him to be with us. So yeah, I did that. I created that and we enjoyed it and loved that. What about my ultimate contribution in respecting our relationship? I think I put so much effort on daily to keep our relationship respectful, whether it's protecting us from trolls, whether it's, I'm not kidding, whether it's, setting boundaries for our families and friends, whether it's making sure we get treated the way we want to be treated. I do not stand for any BS. And that, to me, the ultimate contribution to our relationship is like, I put our relationship on a pedestal because that's what is important to me. That's my goals. That's my value. And I think I do a pretty good job at that. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. What about you?
I can tell you what I think you contribute to the family. You contribute healthy living, healthy food. There's a lot of people out there that will constantly feed their kids junk and all that kind of stuff. That's something that you take initiative and say, okay, I got a healthy food, even to the point where my kids will say, oh, I've been eating a lot of junk lately. Can we get something healthy? Not saying that you made that junk. They were out with their friends or doing this, going to movies and all that kind of stuff. And they had like a very unhealthy past couple days. Well, they'll actually come up and say, Mom, I need your help. I need some
green.
Yeah, I need something.
Legit, Tristan said that to me yesterday. He said to me, Mom, I need some more green in my diet. I said, okay, great. Here's your plate. And I gave him a whole plate of cucumbers and other greens. And he's like, is because that's all they've seen from they were babies. They've seen that in their diet and their food. And I get that. And thank you for bringing that up, because one of my last point of contribution was that I push us towards a healthy living. Example, I push us to work out, you and I, so we can have energy for each other and for working so hard to live the lifestyle that we live. Because without energy, we wouldn't be able to do this.
Yep.
And where do we get the energy from? Working out.
Yep.
And working out gives us what we need to survive, to have a great time with our children, to be active with them, to,
stay young, man. We're gonna
for a long time. I want to be here for a long time with them. So by pushing us to work out and eating healthy, we stay in shape. And upside to that is we stay attractive for each other. Like, for fuck's sakes, I say this all the time. If you're not attractive, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be intimate with you. If I'm not attractive, and that's subjective. Everyone is different. Okay. For me and for you, it's this way. I want you to be a certain way. You want me to be a certain way. For us, for each other.
Which basically means just putting in the effort. Yeah, putting in the effort, trying to be as the best version of you so that you can keep that attraction. Because, your wife was attracted to you for some reason, or your husband was attracted to you for some reason your whole life. And if you kind of let that slip away, and I understand, we're not talking necessarily about looks in terms of looking great, having a beautiful flow of hair and blah, 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 blah. We're not talking about that. We're saying to put in the effort so that you can be the best version of yourself that you are then. Don't sit there and say, oh, I used to look like this when I was 20. Whatever you are now, put some effort. Don't let go. You let go, and then the attraction lets go.
And the effort that you put in, I'm going to bring it down to you now, back to you, is our intimacy level is at all times high, almost all the time throughout our relationship. No, because of the effort
saying
that
horny?
You are. And it's not always sexual. I'm talking about the little things that you come behind me and hug me and kiss me and tell me how beautiful I am. You appreciate the food that I give you. You look at me with those eyes and you legit are thankful for the food I put on the table. You look at our children and you say thank you to me without saying a word, because they're amazing children. This is the contribution that you bring into our relationship.
Yep.
Which makes me want to do more and more and more of all the contribution that I bring into the table. So it's the back and forth effort between the two of us that makes this relationship work for as long as it has. And that's the reason why I wanted to bring this out today, because a lot of couples can relate to this. A lot of couples, all of you that are out there listening to this conversation, you do the same thing. You just don't think about it on a regular basis because you're so busy doing it. So if you take a moment on those dates that you go with your spouse, one of these dates, make it about this, about, hey, let's have a conversation about what you contribute to our relationship and what I can, and then once you do that, you have a better idea of who you guys are, and you connect on a different level. It's amazing.
So I guess in the long and short of it is, if I look at our relationship and who I think we both are, I'd say you bring in like the substance and the kind of like livelihood, all the caring and loving stuff. And I try and bring in, well, I don't want to sound like you're not fun or anything, but I'm like, I try and bring in the fun. I was just going to say that. I try and make things fun. I try and make things, cold-hearted and just kind of not cold-hearted. What's the word I'm looking for? Lighthearted.
You're so amazing at that stuff, though. I'm more the serious, and you're more the fun, loving father.
So I joked earlier, and I said, you bring in the stress, I bring in the fun. But that's kind of like, it is the role, because you're like the really responsible one for the family. You care about the livelihood of everybody in this family more than anything, more than yourself. And I do as well, but in my sense of it is like, okay, I want to make sure that they're enjoying themselves. I want to make sure that, not just with them and when they're with their friends. I want to make jokes. I want to make them laugh. I want to make them, make them like my son. You know what I mean? Because, we're likable people, that stuff. And I want my son to feel like my daughter or whatever. I'm just using my son because he just came downstairs. But I want to make our kids feel like people want to be around them. You know what I mean? Like enjoyable.
You're very kind. Yeah. You're very friendly. You're very welcoming. You're very loving. I mean, I can't say enough about how amazing of a human you are, which is why I married you, which is why I'm with you. Yes, we have our ups and downs, but you're amazing at all of this stuff. So to conclude this podcast, I want our listeners to know, I want you to know that this is important. Doing these date nights with your spouse and getting to the nitty-gritty of who you are, what you contribute, what you do to this, it brings in a whole new perspective for your relationship.
Yeah. And another thing, the reason why we want to get into contributing, you do whatever you do all day long, whether it's whether you're the one that's the breadwinner or you're the one that takes care of the family or you're both breadwinners, whatever it is. And then you come home and you almost feel entitled. Oh, I did this all day, so I deserve to, chill and do nothing on the couch or whatever the hell it is. Right. But if you sit there and just kind of get together and talk about, bring up, let's say 4 or 5 things that you feel that your spouse contributes to the relationship, and then 4 or 5 things that you think that you contribute to the relationship yourself, and then talk about them. Just throw them out there. Have a little game about it, and pretend you're doing a podcast, and just sit there and talk about them, because you want to bring that kind of awareness into your relationship. That listen, yes, you work your ass off, but look at the other side. They work their ass off as well. They might do things differently. Like I said, I stress about money. You stress about everything else. Those are all real life stresses. Those are all real life things that people go through.
These are the things that make or break a relationship.
And a lot of times you don't realize it. You sit there and think about you. I do this, I do that, I do this, I do this. But when you really sit back and look, God damn it, she's doing a lot too, or God damn it, he's doing a hell of a lot too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like nobody's sitting there doing absolutely nothing. If they are, then like I said, they're deadbeat dads or deadbeat moms, and they're just.
But that's what I try to talk to couples that are going through a lot, and especially the ones that are going through divorce. When they're calling me and talking to me about these things, I'm like, listen, you think you're the one who's above everything, who's doing everything, but you neglect to see that you both put in all the effort to make that family, to make that home, to make all of this. So don't sit there and take all the credit just because you think you're doing something that your partner's not.
And it's just our selfish mindset. It's just it sits there and says, that, I'm doing all this, you're doing absolutely nothing, or the things that you do don't really matter, because if the things that I do aren't done, then we can't survive. Well, maybe you just don't realize, or you take for granted all the stuff that the other person does for your family and for you as a couple. So, maybe get together and like I said, create a little bit of awareness and say, listen, I see you. I know that you contribute. I know that you're a massive part of this family. And if you weren't here, this family wouldn't be what it is now. But you got to know that both sides do this. So anyways, we're rambling on. We're talking about the same thing over and over again. It is time to say goodbye.
Yes. And we wish you what we have.
Yeah, baby.
If you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, please hit subscribe and give us a 5-star rating on whichever platform you're tuning in from.
It means the world to us to have your support on our show in this little mini way.
You can also stalk us on Instagram at Head Over Heels Show for more juicy stuff.
If you have any questions, send them via email at us@hohshow.com or DM us on socials.
Thank you for having us between your ears. And as always, we wish you what we have.